Okay, I wanted to come back and finish a couple of the examples that we didn't get to in class for those of you that are interested to watch this video. Number 7, and then we'll also take a look at the closure. So for number 7, they want us to solve the natural logarithmic equations by rewriting in exponential form. So again, a natural log has an imaginary base of e, and when we change to exponential, this would become e to the 21st power equals 3x minus 9. Now, e to the 21st power is going to be a really big number, so I would just leave it as an exponent for right now until we take it and put it all in our calculator. So we'll use inverse operations to solve for x. We would add 9 to both sides. Then we would undo multiplication of 3 with division of 3. And then we can put this whole thing in our calculator and then round it. Now, since the numerator does have an addition or subtraction, it is a binomial, we want to group that. So in the calculator, I would type a parenthesis first. Remember, to get the e to the x button, we press second ln, e to the 21st. Make sure you close the parenthesis afterwards to indicate that the exponent is done, and then we'll add 9. We'll close the parenthesis for the numerator, and we will divide by 3. And we get this big long number, which we will go ahead and write out. So $439,605,247.8. Now, if you do want to check this, and I'll show this tomorrow in class also, to check these problems, you can, again, take this number, store it for x, okay, and then you can go type in the original equation without the equal sign and make sure that it does equal 21. So we would take natural log of 3x, again, I can use the x key because I stored that number in for x, minus 9, and hit enter, and it does equal 21. So you can actually know that you got the question correct by checking your answers. Okay, another example we didn't get to in class was number 10. So for number 10, again, we're going to solve this exponential by taking logarithms of both sides. We want to isolate our e to the x, which this is isolated. We may want to put parentheses around the numerator, the exponent, x plus 1. And so we will take the natural log of both sides. So natural log of e to the x plus 1 power equals the natural log of 30. We will then use our power rule to take the exponent and move it to the front, and this would become x plus 1 times the natural log of e equals the natural log of 30. Now remember what I talked about in class, the natural log of e is actually equal to 1. So if you want, you can leave it in the problem and solve with it, but it is a lot easier and shorter if we just get rid of it. The natural log of e is just 1. So I really have just x plus 1 equals the natural log of 30. So I would just solve by undoing addition with subtraction. And then I would type this into my calculator. So we'll have the natural log of 30 make sure you close your parenthesis to end the log, and we will subtract 1. And so I'll round this to nearest 10,000, so I would get 2.4012. Now, again, if you want to check this answer, you could use the rounded answer, but it's much easier to store it in the calculator. So store this in for x, and then we'll go back and retype in the original equation, which is e to the x plus 1 power. Hit enter, we get 30, we know we're right. Okay, I did go over example 11 on the last video, which was with the word problem. I would like to go over the closure, however, since some of my classes got to that and others did not. So this one is going to be using the same formula, which you will have a question with this formula. I will give you the formula and what it stands for, but you'll have to solve it on your chapter test on Friday. So it says an initial investment of $200 is now valued at $254.25. So the initial investment is the P variable. So that's 200. The future value is the A variable. So that's $254.25. The interest rate is 6%. You have to change this to a decimal. From a percent to a decimal. Remember, you're going to move the decimal point 2 spaces to the left. So this would be 0.06 or 0.06. We want to have it in proper form. You can also achieve that by dividing by 100. They want us to find out how long the money has been invested. So that's our time. All right, so we are going to go ahead and plug this into my formula using A equals P times e to the RT. So we'll have our A variable is 254.25. Our P variable is 200 times e to the RT power. So that's 0.06 T. The steps to solve this one are exactly the same as what we did in this problem up here. We need to isolate the e first. So I'm going to undo multiplication here with division. So I'm going to divide by 200 on both sides. Please be aware that you do need to write out all of the decimals here. It's 1.27125. You can't round that, otherwise it's going to drastically round our next part of the answer. Then we're going to take the natural log of each side. There's a different color here. So I have the natural log of 1.27125 equals. Now I'm also going to use my power rule to put that in front. So that would be 0.06 t times the natural log of e. Again, remember what we talked about. The natural log of e is just 1. So really, to solve for t, I'm just undoing multiplication with division. So I'm going to divide by 0.06. And then this will go in my calculator. So I have the natural log, 1.27125. Make sure you again close that parenthesis before dividing by 0.06. And we'll round this to the nearest year. This would be 4 years. This one also you can check by taking 4 and plugging it back into this equation and making sure that you do get 254.25. Now be aware it may be slightly off because we did round the 4 years. We didn't keep it exactly the same. But if you wanted to, we could keep it exactly the same and we could use our store key. So go ahead and store that value for x. And then to check this, we're going to type this into our calculator. So 200 times e to the 0.06 times x, because x is what I stored my 4 in, and hit enter, and we do get 254.25 on the nose. So again, we know that we've done it correctly. So on your chapter test on Friday, you are welcome to use your calculator to check your answers for the logarithm questions and actually be 100% certain that you got it correct before you turn in your test. The homework again is on my teacher page, 8.6 homework. Again, there is a typo on that. It does say to complete numbers 39 through 29 odd, and there is no 39. Okay, so you will be skipping 39 since it's not on the document. Skip number 13.